Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Oh, yes, brother.
What up, people? Welcome to Feature Friday Plus. Today we are joined by Apl.deAp. How's it going, brother? How are we feeling?
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up?
Thanks for coming on, brother. Really, thanks for making the
Oh
time.
yeah, man. Oh yeah, thanks for having me, man.
No, it's a pleasure. It's truly an honor to have you on, and I think it's going to be super exciting to talk to you about so many questions that we have.
You know what's bizarre? Like, we were just listening to, like, ¿Qué dices from, like, 98?
Bro.
Holy
What a
yeah.
vibe.
Dude,
Literally.
dude, it was so bizarre. Like, we were listening, like, a couple of days ago. We were just vibing because it's insane. What I mean, we're from Venezuela. And
Yeah.
it's insane what, like, yeah, you guys' music became, like, your rapping became such a, like, I don't know.
Staple sound even in South America. It was
Dude, I
so
didn't even know
wild.
no one understood like English, because when I was growing up, I didn't understand English.
Yeah.
Everyone would fucking try and copy, and it would be such a remarkable thing what you guys achieved.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Like we've been incorporating like Latin music and like lyrics even back then. I mean, you've probably heard our last album called
Translations,
Yeah.
and that's like reggaeton and like Afro beats inspired. So you just reminded me like, damn, we were using like Latin music
Influences
and
really early
lyrics,
on. Yeah.
influences. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's really cool though, because it has never been done before that a rap group would take on so much of that Latin influence and include it into their hip hop.
Especially in the 98, 99, dude, that was never been done. Like
not even in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well, that's what LA is about. LA is a melting pot of different cultures. So and of course Taboo, he's Mexican, half Indian, so there's that influence as well.
Well, here's another funny thing as well that one of the industries we've been really enjoying discovering through the podcast and through the YouTube channel has been the Filipino music industry. And you also play a role in that one, because I think the first bit of Tagalog that my sister Valeska ever heard in her life was from your song.
Yeah, it really was. The first time I ever heard Tagalog was on that Monkey Business album, where you introduce there's a whole rap for yourself, and I was like, whoa, how cool is that?
What language is that? And that was, I don't know what year that was, 2000 and something.
Yeah,
2005, something around that.
Yeah, 2000. Yep, around that time. Yeah. Well, it's been a tradition, for every album that there's a Tagalog song in a Black-Eyed Peas album. One day, Will walked in, and I was in my studio. And I was just, sampling some Filipino music. And he's like, oh, yo, what is that? What is that? And I'm like, oh, there's this, my favorite band from the Philippines called The Sin. And I sampled them. He's like, yo, that's pretty dope. You should put that in the album. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, man. It's like, it's very unique. And there's nothing like that out there, and plus you're representing like your culture.
Yeah, your heritage,
just like just like how the Black-Eyed Peas do. We're multiracial, so they were open-minded enough to like let me rock that. I'm like, all right. And then it became a tradition. Like every album, the first one was the Apple song.
Yeah.
And then there's Bebot, and then Mare. And then the latest one is called Mabute. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, yeah.
Go on, brother, go on.
Yeah, no, so Mabute means like, yo, it's like, how are you? If you say in Tagalog, like, kumusta?
Yeah.
Kumusta?
And you reply with Mabute. And the song is kind of like double entendre, like, Mabute, like my booty.
Right. That's funny, man. That's creative as hell. Like, let's talk a little bit about like, the origin story of like Black-Eyed Peas, because if I'm correct, I think Will.i.am and you were like super close even before even started making any music. How do you guys come up with such a cool idea?
I'm actually really interested on this, Apl, because you know nowadays it's bizarre with the internet. Like you can get to know a person through like articles and online and stuff like that, and having this huge privilege of being able to speak to you. I wonder what that story sounds like from your own eyes.
Yeah. So I was born in Philippines, and my mom discovered this foundation. It's called Apl.deAp Foundation, where they support abandoned American kids.
Right.
And so she signed me up in that program. And you've probably seen those commercials like send us 75 cents to a kid in a third world country.
Yeah.
And so she signed me up in that program. And what they do is they get sponsors from the US.
Right.
And then they send you a monthly allowance for tuition fees and books and for education, and then in return you write a thank you letter to your sponsor.
Right.
And in my letters I would tell them my life story, and I was apologizing for my grades, because my grades were low because I have a rare condition called nystagmus.
Right.
I diagnosed pretty much legally blind, and so I couldn't see the board in school. And so by telling them that story, he like came up with the idea that he takes me to the U.S. to have my eyes checked by American ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Because the technology in Philippines wasn't up to par at that time.
Behind.
And then, so he brought me to the U.S. in 1986, had my eyes checked, but it was too late. I needed to be 7 years old, under 7 years old, so they could operate. So that was too late.
Right.
And
How
during
old
my
were you
stay,
then?
1986, like 10.
Oh,
Right.
so you just fucking missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so during my stay, I just kind of like took the initiative, like, hey, Mr. Urgents, because we went to Disneyland.
Oh wow.
And Universal Studio. And as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, this is
Yeah,
America.
The American dream is real.
Yeah, and I thought, that's how it would be every day.
Yeah.
So I just asked my dad. I'm like, Dad, can I stay longer, or would you adopt me? And he's like, well, son, I have to talk to your mother and the Philippine government, and we'll see. So then he sends me back. He sends me back to the Philippines, and then 3 years later, he processed the adoption papers.
Cool, man.
And then I got to the U.S. in 1989, and my dad was a lawyer, and his best friend was a lawyer as well. And my dad needed a babysitter before I was enrolled in school. So his best friend suggested this lady, her name is Deborah,
right,
to babysit me before I was enrolled in school. And so they take me to Deborah's house, and coincidentally, she had a kid the same age as I am, and guess who it was?
No way,
man.
Will?
And that's Will.i.am.
Holy guacamole, man.
So they take me to his house, and mind you, I wasn't fluent in English yet. I'm like culture shock, just coming from the Philippines, and he said, Will said I sat there for like hours quiet because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I was scared to speak. And then finally, Will started talking to me. He's like, so you're from the Philippines? What do you do there? Like I've never heard of that place.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I go to school. I take care of water buffaloes. I go farming, and I also break dance. He's like, what? You know how to break dance? So before I left, I discovered breakdancing through music videos.
Nice.
and in the city, because I used to live in the province. So once I saw breakdancing, I was like, I want to do this. So
madness.
I just started picking it up. And when me and Will were talking, he was like, "Oh, you know some moves?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I just learned this. I just learned a new dance move called the running man.
Oh my God.
It's like, show me. So I had to show the running man, like, bam.
What a vibe, man.
And then the rest is history. We started a dance crew, and then we started batting other b-boys, and then it just evolved to like, and one day Will was like, "Yo, you should rap with me." I was like, "Bro, I could barely speak English."
Where are you on?
But it's like, yeah. But he's like, "You got it, man. You got it. You got rhythm. You can b-boy. I bet you got it." And he's like, "I'm just gonna put on some beats and let's practice."
Nice.
So he would put some instrumentals, and he's like, "Just say whatever comes in your head and try to make it rhyme." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. That's so easy."
It's so easy. That's wild.
The beat came on like, and the only thing I could remember was like, abakada ega ilaman ng o para sa tauaya. He's like, "Yo, that's dope, man. See, I knew it. What did you say?" I'm like, "Oh, that's the ABCs."
That's the ABC together, bro.
So that was my first. that was my first freestyle, and then he's like, "Yo, see, you got rhythm, just keep practicing and start writing." And then I started writing, and then we formed a group, and it was called the Apl.deAp Clan.
The Apl.deAp.
And Apl.deAp Clan, and we got discovered by we were discovered by Ruthless Records.
Right, cool.
Back in like 92.
Right.
And so we would go to this club called Ballistics, and it was thrown by David Faustino, Bud Bunny from Married with Children, and he would hold like a dance contest and MC battles.
Nice.
Right.
And so we would go there, I'll rip the dance floor, and Will would join the MC battle contest.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of Rufus A&R would be there at some time.
Yeah.
And he took notice to us. You're like, "Yo," because we dressed different. We would we didn't have no money, so we'd go to thrift stores and like get some old school like old man jacket and cut off the sleeves and make it our own style, right? So we kind of stood out. And then he's like, "Yo, I want to introduce you guys to my boss." And then one Monday we went to attend the meeting, and that was Eazy-E.
Woo-hoo.
And so then we got signed to Eazy-E, and then he passed around 95, and then we couldn't use Apl.deAp Clan anymore. For legal reasons. And then we were just sitting around. So we were like, "Yo, let's just start a new group." And so we would just sit around and like throw names up in the air, like, how about like Blue Unit? Yeah, that sounds cool, but what does that mean? How about Beans and Rice? I'm like, yeah, that sounds funny, just kind of like, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Yeah.
But it's still, it was, we didn't pick that one. And then we were like, how about Black Eyed Peas? It was our old production company.
Uh-huh.
And, it just rolled, it just sounded perfect, like Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. It rolls, in your tongue well, and like, and then so we picked Black Eyed Peas, and then we came up with the meaning later. Black Eyed Peas is cooked in the beginning of the year in the South, in America, to bring good luck throughout the whole year. So
all right,
that's right. We do that in Venezuela. We cooked the Black Eyed Peas like on December 31st, so it brings good luck to the rest of the year.
Yeah, bam. So so we were like, we were getting like imaginative, like, yo, it's soul food, and we make music from the
The
soul.
soul, yeah.
That's right.
So Black-Eyed Peas, and then and then we started Black-Eyed Peas in '95. Yeah, and then we met Taboo along the way. It's one of the B-boys we battled at some point, and then afterwards, we like his energy. He's very charismatic, and so we recruited Taboo.
Nice.
And then so we formed Black-Eyed Peas. We had 2 albums, and then there was this girl that used to come to our show.
Oh, nice.
And then she was like, "Yo, I'm a singer. I want to put my demo package together. I was wondering if you guys could help me out." And so we exchanged numbers, and then one day we needed a girl singer because we always utilize female singers throughout all our careers. And then
it's a signature Black-Eyed Peas thing.
Yeah. And then our friend was like, "Yo, remember that white girl that you exchanged numbers with? Yo, she could blow. That girl could blow." And then so we needed
freaking Fergie, bro.
And then we needed a singer for "Shut Up." And then we called up Fergie. She showed up, and then the rest is history.
Freaking wild, man! Freaking wild. You decided to go ahead and like record a whole album with her. That's freaking mad, bro.
Was that like maybe once you heard her sing, you kind of made the decision, so let's make more bloody music together?
Yeah, actually, it was just like we just kept on making music, and she would just hang out. We would go out to clubs, and she was like one of the homies. So and then one day, Will called me. He's like, "Yo, what do you think of like putting Fergie in a group?"
The group, yeah.
Fergie. I'm like, hell yeah, she's dope. She's like one of us. She likes to party. she likes to rock out. Hell yeah. And then we put out Fergie.
You know what's interesting, Apl? It's like sometimes we discuss this like amongst the family and us growing up as well in the music world. One of the things that especially, and even if you just observe in different musicians and artists that have gone ahead like yourself to do things that are remarkable,
unprecedented,
the beginning, there's always some immense difficulty at the start. Even in their personal lives, there has to be some sort of a side of darkness and difficulty and true hardship,
adversity,
and you wish to a certain extent that everyone didn't have to go through anything like that, but it seems to make the best of us when we go through insane difficulties. I just kind of wonder what the journey, I guess personal journey for you was in music when you kind of realized, I guess, perhaps there are disadvantages. Perhaps you did have some advantages at play, but growing up with no money, and it's like you see everyone else. What was kind of the mentality? And I guess this could help other people as well too. What's the mentality to go in with that you went into?
I remember, like, after coming to America, I started to get homesick, and I'm like, I wanted to be sent back home. So I asked my father. I'm like, oh, the America thing, kind of dissipated.
The Disney World.
You
left Disney World,
and I started missing my family, and I wanted to be sent back home. So at that age, I was like, I would cry at night, and then I would cry to my best friend Will. He's like, "Yo, man, I miss my family. I want to go back home now." And he's like, "Yo, don't worry about it, App. We're gonna make it one day, and then we're gonna go back to Philippines and perform in front of your family."
Oh, it's a joke.
Damn, bro.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds good, man. Yeah. So that's like became a motivation, and I come from a third world ghetto, and Will comes from the ghetto. So that was like our like
link.
bond of like, yo, we gotta make it.
Yeah,
we gotta make it. We don't take no for an answer, so we would make demo package, and we would send them to like record companies. And back then it was too it was too underground. We weren't making choruses yet, but it was like we had dope style. But record companies would tell us like, oh, it sounds really cool, it's unique, but it's not tangible enough.
Yes, and it's structured.
And we're like, tangible? What the fuck is tangible?
It's like,
I gotta break out the dictionary for this one. So so we looked at tangible. It's it says it's something that you could grasp and
substantial,
yeah. And so we've sent a bunch of demos. Nothing was happening. So we just started playing everywhere we can, man. The success didn't come overnight. We would play at like UCLA at lunchtime.
Oh my God.
USC, all the colleges in Northern and Southern California.
Yeah.
And wherever we could perform, charity events.
Yeah.
And and it was hard, like we would get paid with pizzas and like and like $20, $50. And I was working at the movie theaters and at a concession stand and stuff. And so what we did, this is before social media and Facebook.
Of course, yeah.
So for every show, we would bring a sheet of paper, and we would get everyone's addresses. We'd get everyone's address, and then on their way out, and then we would mail them the flyer for the next show.
Nice. That's so clever.
And then so that's how we started accumulating fans
following,
and like following. Yeah. So we had to create our own following. Because no one really believed in us. So we did that system, and then our crowd was starting getting bigger and bigger. And then record companies start showing up at our shows. Like, who are these guys? Who are these guys? And like, remember those guys? You probably still have their demos in your desk, So they started noticing us, and then there started a bidding war. And so that's one of the adversities that we had to
overcome.
That we had to overcome is to prove ourselves, because especially back then in Los Angeles, it was just predominantly gangster music, and we were more like Tribe Called Quest, De La, and they didn't understand it. We wanted gangster stuff.
Yeah.
And so we had to prove ourselves, and that's what it took to prove ourselves.
That's incredible. I actually think the beginning stories are always so inspiring, because you can also, make your own building from that. But I wonder what it's like. What did it feel like the minute that you got to perform back in the Philippines? When was the first time that you actually got back to the Philippines? What was that like?
Oh man, so about a decade later, we got to go back, and then it was I can't even describe the feeling. It was like the most proud moment for me.
Wow.
When we got there, they made a whole life story. It's like a soap opera when we arrived. It was playing all over Philippines, all the television networks, and they even had like people to play like Will.
Oh my
Fergie,
God!
In this documentary, and it's the life story of my life story, and and then to see my mom in the audience, and then the president, and then the army. And then me and Will were like, we looked at each other and we started like got teary-eyed. It's like, yo, remember that conversation? Like that one day we will be back in Philippines, and here we are. And it was like I was floating the whole time, man. It was the best feeling ever.
That's why it's one of those moments where it's so surreal but it's kind of like I guess a reminder that dreams do come true, you know, and
then the hard work actually pays off at some point. Dude, I could never even.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine what that must feel like. Did you feel overwhelmed by all of it? Like, I mean,
I was like, the first time I was, nervous on stage. It's like, like,
damn.
I have to show my skills, like to my whole country. And but it was just a proud moment, like from leaving my family, being adopted, meeting Will, and through our journey, and then being able to go back. It was man, I was like, I'm still getting goosebumps sometimes.
Yeah,
that's glad.
Did you go back to your province?
Oh yeah. So through our first conversation, Will was like, "What? You have a pet bison?
Yeah.
You have a pet water
buffalo?
A pet water buffalo?" And I was like, "Yeah, I take care of them, and then we pump water out of the ground, and we do our laundry by the river." And he's like, "Yeah, right." So
yeah, it sounds so unreal.
So he didn't believe me. So one day, when we had one of our show in Philippines, I took him back to my town.
Nice.
and then you driving, and then and then you go through these shanties to these like before you get to my house. And Will was like, "Dude, I thought where's your house? I thought you have a mansion or something in Philippines, Yeah. I'm like, actually, I didn't want to leave my town, and that's kind of like a reminder to where I came from. So I rebuilt our old house where I grew up, and that's where I built my house in Philippines." And he's like, and during our travel, and then he starts singing. It's like, "Holy shit, that's a water buffalo! Holy shit, that's a water pump! Oh shit, that's the fucking river that you've been talking about when we were young." I'm like, "I told you."
I was lying.
I wasn't lying. And then so I got to bring my crew, my in my hometown, and then they got to see where I grew up, and they were like tripping out.
Yeah, that's absolutely
totally
insane.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Bro, it's one of those moments that we were talking. I think the first time I ever heard that people had water buffaloes was we were talking to an R&B singer from the Philippines. His name is Bugoy Drilon, and he said that he was also from a province, so like far away from the city. And he said that he had a water buffalo. And the first time I heard the story, I was like, "You gotta be joking! That's not real."
He would tell us,
no way.
He would tell us the story of how he learned to sing by singing as he was collecting water to his water buffalo. And
I was like, "What?"
And we actually thought he was, a bit taking the piss or sort of like joking, but it's genuine.
And we're like, "What?"
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's for real.
That's so cool. Like,
still mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, right? That it's probably one of the things that's impressed me the most, given kind of like the Filipino people. One of the things that has impressed me a lot is their natural predisposition to singing. It seems like a singing country. Music is ginormous, and one of the things that you've obviously been involved in, it's also finding talent in the Philippines in shows like The Voice, and I'm sure you've other endeavors. Am I tripping balls when I say this, or is it true from your perspective as well that there truly is something different about the Philippines when it comes to singing? There's something in the blood there, dude. It's not normal.
Something in the water.
Everyone seems to be born with the natural predisposition of singing.
Yeah, we love singing, man. Even if we can't sing, we still sing the shit out of a song. like I even when I go back, right? I go to like karaoke spots and stuff, and they're like professional, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know none of these lyrics, man. I only know my songs. I'm like, I need to get my game up, man. I need to get my game up. Like everyone like loves singing in the Philippines. And imagine like doing The Voice. It was a hard show because everyone could sing. And like, and you really have to be so critical. And like sometimes you'll just make up things because you have to say no. You can't pick everybody, right?
Yeah.
So you just after a while you just like, yeah, I'm fucking lying right now. Like I'm lying through my teeth, but I gotta soften the blow and to say no. But everyone could, we love singing, dancing, even basketball,
Huge.
Like
huge.
we ain't got the height, but we got the speed, man. We like be zooming, like we be zipping through everybody, and
also cheerleading is a big thing there as well. We were just learning that cheerleading is ginormous, like the universities have cheer.
I hadn't known about it. Like I just recently found out and I was like, wow, what the hell? And I don't know, it's really cool.
Huge culture of arts in general.
Indeed,
yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song when you go to the Philippines? When you go back, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh my God! The first time I'm like, I sang Puff the Magic Dragon. And I still fucked that shit up. I'm like, what? I didn't know that's I didn't know it said that, like when you start reading the lyrics, like you actually gotta know the song already, or else you'll be lost,
you're screwed.
And man, we love. Definitely, everyone sings in Philippines.
Well, let's talk a bit about kind of your experience. Let's dive a bit deeper into that experience of The Voice. What was that like, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, so Will's been doing The Voice UK.
Yeah,
and then he comes on one day and he's like, "Joe, you gotta do The Voice Philippines." I'm like, "What? What is that?" It's like, it's this singing competition, and I'm like, so, and I didn't want to do it at first. I was like, nah, man, because after like 10 feet, it's hard for me to see your face or the person, right? So I'm like, no, I can't do it, man. I can't see the contestants, And it's like, dude, that's why it's called The Voice.
Oh, it's perfect, actually,
It's like, all you have to do is listen, I'm like, yeah, but I still got to make comments on like how they look sometimes, or I want to say, I want to see their facial expression, how, if they're feeling it. So, you know what? I was like, I came up with an idea for me to do it. So I was like, all right, if they could put a little screen under my chair.
Yeah.
Under my chair, before you press the button, there's a space right there. If they could put a screen right there, so at least I could see the faces of the contestants, and so I'm not like, there's no
guessing.
I'm not losing connection.
Yes.
So, and then they're like, all right, so they put a screen on the bottom of my chair, and so before the at least before I comment, I could look down there and I could see the person. And then I felt comfortable. I'm like, all right, I could do this shit, Yeah, and then I got really good at it, got used to it, and it it's the most challenging. It brought me back in my childhood, like when I couldn't see the board in school. It got me all timid, but after I got used to it, I'm like, all right, I could do this. Then it went pretty well. And then, by doing that by accepting that challenge, I was able to discover aspiring other Filipino artists. And, during the first season, I discovered J-Ray. Which is the girl that sings with us now.
Yeah. She's amazing. I didn't know she was Filipino.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I discovered her on The Voice, and then I brought her to the US with me, and then
freaking wild.
I had her in the studio recording her stuff, her solo stuff, and then Will came in and he's like, "Yo, who's that girl?" Like, I'm like, yeah, this is you know, she's from The Voice Philippines, and I've just brought her here, and then Will loved her, you know, and now he's producing her whole album, and she's all over the Black Eyed Peas. She's an addition. She's not a replacement.
Yeah.
You know, we have
course,
to like
course.
clarify that. She's an addition to the family. You know, we didn't replace our sister, but she's always, the door is always open. And then so brought J Ray here, and now she's doing her thing, you know.
Nice. Yeah, it's
amazing. That's really cool.
It's certainly nice to see like that, you know, because at the end of the day in arts, creativity can't have a what would you call it, a ceiling. So having new voices and new additions to the band, it can only be a positive.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it allows for.
Oh yeah, man. Like we're like, you know, having J Ray on stage with us, we're like 24 again. You know?
Like, well, let me tell you, you don't look a day over 24. That's for sure.
You know.
Well, you were just
performing. It opens you up to, like, you know, what
being adventurous again.
What the kids like these days, and then that keeps us on our toes.
Yes.
And then so our music is always on point or up to date, you know.
Or you just
maybe even advanced.
Absolutely, I totally agree with it. I think you've always managed. If not, I think Black Eyed Peas has always called the shots on what's next, even before anyone else did it first. And I think you've always,
the Latin influence is a huge example of that.
That is a huge example. Like you did it before anyone else did it before you, and then you came up with this whole electro pop idea before it was even a thought, and it became a remarkable new genre.
Hey, Doug, what the fuck is that like?
Yeah.
Knowing that you kind of set the trend for a large portion of the 2000s. Do you ever sit down and just realize, like, or is it kind of you just so focused in work you just keep going?
Yeah, we like to go out. We call it, we don't call it going out, we call it researching. So, wherever we are, different places, we like to absorb the town, the style of music. And, Will discovered electro while he was doing The Voice. I think he was doing he was filming in Australia. And he'd go out and he discovered electro. And then, it's just some like dope hardcore beats, and that inspired us, like, yo, what the fuck is this, man? Imagine imagine rhyming on this, you know what I mean? And so, we would just kind of, experiment and then like start rapping. Like, how would you rap to this? It's kind of fast. So you got to have the right pocket, the right cadence, so we broke down that code, it's always fun to to try to break down the code, how can you make two genres work together? And we've always been like that, we've always, like, from our first album, like mixing hip-hop to jazz, to like Latin rhythms and like, so, whatever we're inspired by, we're like, we just get really focused and like, yo, we got that excitement in the studio,
right? And
like, it's like some new style. So, it's like, it's fun just trying to figure it out,
Yeah. And I think that really explains the creative process that you all, the whole of you have. Like, there's always that open mind mindset right from the beginning, that you guys are always taking influences from so many places in the world. What has been a music industry that has marked you, and then
like sounds
sounds that has marked you from around the world, and you were like this was it?
Oh, what you mean? What music genre that, like,
from the world that you first discovered and totally blew your freaking head?
Oh, like what kind of music genre you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely definitely dance music,
Okay.
like house music, electro. You know, because you go to raves and like it just had that energy. You know,
Yeah.
the build up and like everyone jumping.
Everybody's
like,
wilding out.
shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Like, yo, we should try to do some of this stuff, you know?
You ever been to UK raves?
I've been to like underground.
Yeah.
Underground, like garage.
Yeah.
Garage, like spot. And that's when you're like, yo, this is fresh, you know?
Yeah. Well, you let me know, brother. Here in Brixton, we're based in London. So here, like in the south of London, some raves.
You guys are from London?
No,
we're in London right now, but we're from Venezuela originally.
Oh, yeah. So we
Brixton, yeah. Oh man, we love that sound, man. We love that
mental, dude.
That garage, like, you know, we're actually incorporating that in the new album.
Really?
You know, we're trying to, you know, not trying to give up, like, you know, the formula, but like we're infusing that with Latin.
Oh wow, what the fuck?
You know what I mean?
Whoa.
With like Latin rhythm and then like the sound of like garage, like we're like mixing it in there.
That's wild.
Dude, like here they have this like bizarre fusions of obviously garage and jungle, drum and bass. And something that I've been not noticing lately is I'm not a big raver, so I don't really go to like the raves. But here, the rave culture is ginormous.
Yeah, it's part of the culture, really.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, rave fashion is a joke. I love rave fashion. But
man, yeah. I never got dressed up really, but I used to go to raves.
I'm telling you, brother. You let me know next time you're in London. But make sure it's like summer though, because I don't like dressing up when it's like winter in the raves. Let me know it's summer. We're taking some nice raves.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'll take you on that. Yeah,
it's a wild one, and I think so that definitely blew your mind. The whole dance and
dance music.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, dude, this is just an instrumental, and everyone is rocking to it. You know, it was like you couldn't explain it. Like, I think it's just the build-ups and the energy and the drop. You know, that's like because we love performing, so. You know, we're imagining ourselves in like stadium and like rocking out like that, you know?
Yeah.
So when was the first time that you included those influences into an album and you got to perform them? What did that feel like?
What song was it?
Yeah.
It started from like, you know, the end. We started incorporating it in there. I think I got a feeling it's like the start.
Yeah.
That was like, you know, when we like, you know, when we discovered like we had something unique, you know? And then, so that was, I think that was at the end, right?
That was the end.
I got a feeling it's at the end.
Yep.
And then from then on, we're just like, that's why the beginning, it's all dance music. If you listen to it, we were really immersed into dance music. Like we couldn't like, you know,
detach yourself.
We couldn't think of anything else. And then, the beginning, the end, the beginning.
It's certainly very refreshing to hear that there's so many you know, influences from different genres being, you know, coming into play when you guys create. Because one of the things that we like to do on the channel and on the podcast is certainly dive into different parts of the world and speak to artists from different parts of the world. Because one of the big realizations that we had growing up in South America, obviously Latin music, it's a ginormous deal, but we never were exposed to like garage or jungle or, you know, the Korean music industry, like K-pop. We were never introduced to, you know, in the Middle East, they have a very peculiar ways of instrumentalization and percussion. India, you know, Southeast Asia is ginormous in musical sounds and musicalization of things. And when you're kind of stuck in one place, you know, you grow up in South America, or maybe you grew up here in the UK, unless you make the effort to try and delve into those places and find out music, you can just be stuck listening to pop or listening to R&B or listening to traditional jazz all your life. And that's completely fine too. But it was really mind blowing to us that there's so many different sounds from different parts of the world, and seeing you guys utilize as well those sounds and expose them, it's super refreshing to
and
hear.
make them mainstream. I think the fact about Black Eyed Peas being so global in like the sound aesthetic overall is that you guys have managed to make the impossible possible and super popular in the program, like in the process.
Well, certainly innovative, perhaps not impossible, but certainly innovation, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what, you know, we are very blessed to be able to travel the world, and just like I said earlier, you know, we like to go out and like really absorb the city and its sounds, and you know, so when we go back home, like we have like new ideas, you know, so we're thankful that we're able to travel and like pick up all these things to bring back home and incorporate it in our music. And it's so much music out there to like, you know, we just came from Egypt recently.
Oh wow.
And we went out and we saw a live band, and it was like 15-piece live band, and it was like just different rhythm, and like we were like, holy shit, what, you know, once again, like, what is this, you know? And like it's like now we're like something to study about again, you know, something to like, you know, it's almost like reggaeton but a different rhythm. Like we could like infuse those together, you know, like, and we just love experimenting.
Well, here's one that's blown us away lately. The Indian music industry, like Indian classical music.
My God,
dude! Like, I mean, I think you play the drums, don't you?
Yeah.
So I grew up a minor percussionist. So congas, timbales, tambor. That's what I play. And seeing the instruments they have in India, they have an instrument called a tabla, which is kind of like a bongos, but it's maybe higher pitched, higher frequency. But dude, the way they play is mainly with their fingers, and that shit sounds fire, dude. Just search up. Like, it's insane, and you're like, what? I've never heard this shit in my life.
Yeah, it's very thin drum sounding, like ding 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 ding. Yeah, but and so I mean, like Mares, I got that one of the Tagalog song that's actually a Indian sample.
Really?
Yeah, you know, so that's man. So we be flipping everything.
And that's how we like it. I mean, that's how we like it, and I think that's dope. I just want to ask you, when was the first moment when you realized, music is gonna be the rest of my life?
That's a good question.
So me and Will, we love fashion, right? So so we enrolled at this fashion school called LA Trade Tech.
Cool.
And because we were like, you know, we were cutting jackets off and like, yo, let's take fashion class so we could make our own shit and make it doper, you know. And so, you know, we went into class one day, and then once again, you know, I couldn't see the board. I'm like, fuck, you have to learn how to draw a face. I'm like, fuck, I can't see that shit, right? So and then I think Will saw that I was like, that I couldn't see it. You know, I was like, I wasn't doing anything. And then he just like, yo, you want to get out of here and let's just make music? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And so we just made that pact, you know what I mean? Like,
I see.
I can see the board, and it's like, yo, let's just make music. Just that simple. And then we walked out, and we never looked back since then.
Wow.
And
so quite
then,
early.
We would never look back. And then we were recording in like, our first album is recorded in our friend's bedroom.
Oh my God.
They were called Blood of Abraham, and they would let us use the studio during weekends.
Cool.
And that's how we wrote like Falling Up, our first song on Behind the Front. And Shit, what was my point again?
Like, when was the moment that you decided that music was?
Oh yeah, so yeah, we walked out of that fashion class, and then we never looked back. And that was like,
fire.
yeah, that was back in 1994,
Right.
1994, 95. And
then, then you guys
like,
released your album 98, right? So
yeah.
3-4 years later, I see.
Yep. And you know, we recorded an album, but we always had the dream of going worldwide, yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And up until we wrote "Where's the Love," that's when it was like, you know, that we're like the type of a universal type group.
Yeah.
That could travel. You know, that song allowed us to travel the world when that song came out.
Right, and it's a powerful message too. I think it will forever be a staple of hope and great questioning. And I think what type of influences were you when
what was the writing process for that
one? So we were in San Francisco, a place called Bodega Bay, and we like to do a writing camp where we all live together for like a whole summer and just write and like try to accumulate as much content. And then on our last day, on our last few days, we were supposed to go on tour.
Okay.
And then 9/11 happened.
Right.
And 9/11 happened, and then we're like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? Should we still go on tour? I mean, you know, shit is blowing up out there, you know.
Yeah.
And then Will's grandma, I think Will talked to his grandma, and it's like, grandma, what do we do? Like, you know, like there's a lot of things going on in the world. Should we still go on our tour? And she was like, you know what? This is the time for you guys to go out there to provide relief to people, to like, you know, shed some, you know, some positive light through this darkness. I think you guys are supposed to be out there and do a tour and perform.
Hey, grandma knows best, brother.
You know, and so, you know, we drove out of San Francisco. You know, the World Trade Center just blew up the night before. So we're like, you know, we're traveling on Golden State Bridge. We're like, yo, this is one of America's stamp, you know, like this is one of the biggest bridge. This might be a target. So imagine crossing that bridge. We're like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah, goddamn.
And so we proceeded to go to tour. And then, you know, during that tour, you know, we saw what's going on out there, and that's how we came up with "Where's the Love." You know, the 9/11, and that was like a dark period, and we didn't know what was gonna happen. So by doing that tour, "Where's the Love" was the gift. By doing that tour, because we got to experience what's going on out there, what's going on in our surroundings, and we were able to write about it, you know, and paint the picture of what's going on. And you know, I think if we didn't do that, we wouldn't come up with "Where's the Love" and what we're talking about in that song.
Yeah, well, so, it's for sure one of those staple now understanding the inspiration behind it, like it makes sense, the magnitude of such track. I mean, I think it will be a forever immortal song, and I think a lot of people always go back to it. How did it feel to perform it for the first time live? Well, what was the crowd's response when you first performed it live?
Oh man, it was a great feeling, you know. That's one of my favorite songs to perform. You know, and I never get tired of it, because because of the sentiments and what it means and the meaning of the song and what we're talking about. So when you're up there, you feel really like like, wow, I'm really talking about something, and I'm able to you ask the question and inspire people, and it just feels good. It felt good, like up until now. Like every time we perform that song, it's like the first time again. It's like the first time performing it.
It certainly it certainly is special when I guess a song not only it's also a good quality song, but it also has a message that comes from such grounding and truth, reality. It's like to some extent that song can also be like a depiction of the time, as if you were looking at a painting, but it's just an auditory experience.
Yeah, sometimes a lot, with a lot of things going on, like with George Floyd and with all the with the police brutality, and that song would come up. It's unfortunate that it's a lot better now, but about a year ago, that song was really needed, that its message, and it's unfortunate that you have to. It's the song that you pick to like to feel better or to sing about what's going on. Yeah, but it's I guess it's kind of like a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's insane.
I didn't know you drummed.
Yeah.
How did you pick that up?
Like, I don't know. One day I was I was picking up a drum machine at a Guitar Center, and I've always wanted to, like, sometimes you get to sample sounds, drum kicks, snares, hi-hats. And sometimes after a while you get tired. You get tired of like the same sound. So you're like, I wanted to experiment. Like I wanted to mic my own kicks and snare and then sample it through drum machine and layer it with other sounds. And that's how I first got
introduced into the industry.
And then the drum set. And then I'm like, and then before I program some drums, I'd like try to play it on the drum set.
Yeah.
And then I started just doing it a lot. I had a little side band where we just play like in my room, and, just try to practice. And
because I've been like I said before, I grew up playing minor percussion all my life, and the natural evolution usually is like if you have a minor percussionist, they sooner or later they end up picking a drum kit. You know what I mean? And that seemed to be the case with me too. But one of the things that I guess a bit like you, when you start making music in any software, any sort of recording software, they always provide those sort of loops and sounds, but you just want to fucking make something on you like that sounds human. You just gotta grab a pair of sticks. There's no choice.
Yeah. So it's fun to like experiment. It was like, yo, I made that snare right here, instead of just pressing the drum pad, like I actually mic that up, and then, and that's the beauty of making music, is experimenting, having fun,
I think that's also a really cool balance that I find Black Eyed Peas, that all of you guys have managed to maintain the human touch, even though the music is highly electronic. But there is a human element to it, and there's an essence. There's a true essence there that I find. Maybe I'm just being picky, but I find that somehow it's being lost a lot. The human touch, like the human essence in music. So whenever you come across something that maintains that humanity,
it's a good combination of both.
Yeah, you cannot be like protect them at all costs.
Oh yeah, like we always we start with like programming all the everything first, from synths to the bass line, and then at some point we'll get a bass player to play it live. So you're right, so we don't lose that, like, that
human
feeling, that human touch, that human feeling, like, and then it's also the timing of it, like a computer can't like duplicate a human's timing, you know what I mean? That little swag, it's like
absolutely.
it's not always on like on beat, it's like you gotta have that swag.
It's like a 4x4, but it's a 4x4. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
that
not
swing.
Just,
that
you're right.
It's
like it's not 4x4. It's like 4x4.
Yeah, undulate. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I do become afraid, Apl, of like computers are becoming ever better at doing things that humans are good at. Music is probably one of those where I think we're probably fine for another 50, 70 years because the human brain still manages to create concoctions and weird combinations that I don't think a computer can do yet, like human creativity. I think it's safe. But I sometimes I do become afraid that we are losing that kind of, I don't know. It's like a robot can't feel what the crowd is feeling.
That's right.
And what they're truly asking for in in intensity, or in pulling back. But it seems the music industry, it's ever evolving into more utilization of technology and less utilization of live musicians.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I know, I do. I feel the same way. I mean, we always feel that way. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, the live bands,
and it's incorporating some of that live aspects to it. But I see, I see a lot of like young artists that starting to have like live bands, and they actually like that old school feel, like that 70s. So I'm not losing total hope in that, but it is going in that direction. Just like you said, computer assimilated beats and stuff like that. And but I think there's always gonna be that human touch that you cannot duplicate and get the feel. I think it's gonna do its thing, but it's gonna revert back to live aspects again. Because after a while, you're gonna get bored of just like, just programming sounds. After you push the envelope so high, it's like, what's next?
Absolutely.
And there's no other way than to go back.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? One of like some of my favorite drummers that I grew up drumming. I mean, they like Aaron Spears and Teddy Campbell, and this guys that toured with a lot of artists that were, especially Usher. I think Aaron Spears toured with Usher and Britney Spears and Joe Haywood, another one of my favorite drummers. And there's nothing like hearing hip hop or a rapping verse if you have a good fucking drummer behind you. It's something also to say when you have a good DJ and you have 808s, and that's different as well. But there's something about me that loves hearing a good drummer and a rapper. It's like, oh shit, he came here to do his stuff,
Oh yeah, man. Like, you gotta be careful with that, like, you can't, like, if you're doing hip hop and drumming live, you gotta keep it minimal, You gotta keep it minimal and like really tight, because
pocket.
Because if you put too much rolls and like fills, and it doesn't sound the same.
It's a different genre.
But, yeah, you gotta find the right drummer that could do both. You know what I mean? Just keep it in pocket and add little rolls in there and not overplaying.
Yeah.
Sometimes overplaying. It's like, what song is this? You know, like
Yeah.
you're like,
It's just getting the groove right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that doesn't sound like Dirty Bitch. You know, that sounds like
what is that?
That sounds like a dirty bitch. Okay.
Listen.
Sorry, that was a joke.
Nah, we got you.
Don't worry, brother. No need to explain what the jokes are being played.
I love that. I think it's a really important aspect to like have a live band. I don't think there's anything to compare to it. I think, it really adds a lot to a live performance. But the world has gone through so much in the past 2 years, like live gigs going into absolute nothingness, being locked up in your houses. This whole virus situation has really taken a toll in the music industry, more than in any other department in the world, actually. What kept you motivated throughout such a difficult period,
especially last year, which I say last year was a very good year.
Oh yeah,
in terms of music, you guys produced a lot of music.
Yeah, you know what, we just we took advantage of
the time at
we
home.
really made we made the pact of like, this is the time to really create. Let's utilize this time to provide music for people that are stuck at home. You know what I mean? Like, since you can't do anything, like, why don't we like, we really made the pact of creating something for people, for TikTok, for just being in your house. And
that's how translation came about.
That's how and even though we couldn't go out and perform it, we still made it like a party album,
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
We still had that hope, like, it's like a bucket list. Like, one day, man, we're gonna be able to perform this live. So we were making it like we were partying, like we were picturing ourselves being out there. And I think that's what kept us like motivated, and really just this is the time to create.
You have got things planned to start performing some of the translation songs live, or is there any touring planned ahead?
We've been we've done like,
so now you performed that the Gucci event,
Citizen,
right?
Global Citizen. We did Egypt. We do shows here and there, and we're starting to incorporate some of translation tracks in there. But I think we're gonna surpass translation by the time we get out. We'll be performing 2 albums. Two brand new albums, because we're already on a next album now. So but it's so fun, like like, it's to have a crowd, because we've been doing virtual shows and like, you gotta like pretend there's a crowd there.
I was gonna ask you about it. How did it feel to do like online shows? Because that it's so different. It's like they feel to me like rehearsals. They feel like recorded rehearsals. They don't feel like the real thing. How did you guys get through that?
It's so quiet. We start performing to each other. We're each other's crowd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then they're like,
each other up.
and then they're like, there's gonna be they're gonna put some crowd in those fake buildings. So wave right there. So you're like, you're like pretending that there's a crowd there. Like, so it's a lot. You have to use a lot of imagination. During virtual shows, and like, that's all we had. So you gotta just do what you can. Make the most out of it. And just like I said, we just have fun. We perform to each other, and like, we just we don't take it too serious, and just like, hey, pretend there's a crowd.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly also good. One of the things I saw a lot of benefit. I guess there are some downsides to just doing virtual shows, nothing like being live. But one of the things I was very pleased to see, by people like you, Apl, and other artists, that it kind of also keeps the reps in. It's like going to the gym. And unfortunately, with music, you gotta still make music. In order to be music fit, and you gotta still be live performance ready. And the best way to do, especially that year, that's 365 days where everyone was locked up. Yes, it still works as putting the reps in. So it certainly is beneficial for that matter.
Oh yeah, man. And like you'll see the difference. Like, it does. It's like charm your tools, your tools, and you're right. Like, it keeps you like you can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps you gig fit, and you can't wait to go out there. Like it's like you're right. It's like rehearsals.
Yeah. That
And
is so cool.
It's like going to the gym, I guess.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
But we love doing shows, so it doesn't matter. Like, two people, three people.
To yourself,
it
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's how we like got in this game, is by doing shows. So
exactly.
However we could do it.
That's comforting to hear, though, that some of your favorite artists are so happy with the idea. They're so comfortable with the idea of constantly creating that
love,
that genuine love and satisfaction that comes from that period. It's comforting to hear, because you always see a lot of people that have struggled so much with this situation, and has kind of like hit a rock. And they have hit a wall, and then there's nothing to build from it. And I think it's so refreshing to hear people that really genuinely use the time to create and experiment and find something new to keep them motivated.
And also, from a fan and also from musicians, it's very nice to hear your favorite creators like you, Apl, that they genuinely love to create. Because at the end of the day, this is a business, and it is also a ruthless business. There's goods and bads to them, but I guess the mentality is, as long as you love creating and making music, there's never an end.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, like we took this, we really made it a pact, like, yo, this is the moment. Let's create something, These are like, who could, what I mean? Like, who could say, like, we're on our lifetime, we've gone through like a pandemic, and then, we have the sole purpose of like, let's create something to bring joy to people. So that gives you more motivation, and like, at least they have something to listen to while they're stuck at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also it's an outlet. For artists, for musicians, when you can't do anything else, what else do you do? Is what you love to do, is your craft.
That's right.
And it's almost like making music. A pandemic, it's perfect for making and really creating focused music.
Yeah.
Because you have no distraction. And all you have is
is that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
that's all you
think
could do.
It is obvious because in translations, the whole congruency of the album, it making it such a heavy Latin influence album, it's so refreshing. And it's one of those albums that you can go back to and listen to one song, and then your whole mood will be lifted by it. And I think it progressively keeps getting like even more party ready towards the end. It's like it starts like, oh cool, this is a vibe, and then suddenly it's like, whoa, by the last track you're like, you're a party man.
We had the DJ mentality by creating that. This is something you just pop it on any party and just let it go.
Let it roll.
And the way we even sequence the album, it's like it's like a journey.
It's so cool. It's one of those albums that you could hear from top to bottom in perfect order, like the order that it sets, and everything makes perfect sense. And I love the features.
Dude, brilliant features.
Fantastic features. Freaking fan of it all.
Oh yeah, we were really inspired by by J Balvin.
He's insane, isn't he?
To Ozuna,
Maluma,
to
Maluma, baby.
Maluma,
Shakira. Like, I mean, you make a whole freaking Shakira.
To Piso 21.
Yeah,
I think Becky G was awesome.
Becky G, and that's that's another thing that that pandemic brought is your hustle game. Like, how can you make things happen by being stuck at home? So
from the distance,
we were talking to Becky G one day, yo, I see you collaborating with other artists. We're proud of you. How you doing it? It's like, oh, I'm just DMing everybody.
Nice.
You want to make music?
Yeah, we just started DMing to Ozuna, to Maluma, like that. All that stuff happened via text,
via
DMs. Online.
Amazing.
And that's what that pandemic brought that hustle game by utilizing all the platforms that we have out there.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it's basically going back to the address writing and sending flyers moment.
But this time,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's like 360 right
there. There's full circle there.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
There's some nature. There's nature. Some people just have it. They just have that hunger, the fire in the eyes type thing. It's really cool.
You also just released another track, didn't you? Just literally. My humps.
No. My humps. No, it's called Hit It.
Hit It. That's it. Apologies.
Yeah, it's called Hit It. Another
inspiration behind
we got to collaborate. Saweetie.
Yeah.
Saweetie's on there. She's another Filipino artist.
Yeah,
she's doing it out there.
Yeah.
Lele Pons. She's
Venezuelan too. She's freaking fire.
Yeah, she's so mental. Fun and she is very mental.
She's a personality.
Yeah. And you're we got to hang out and film the video, and
nice.
That's how she is all the time.
We love that.
She's hot but goofy at the same time. It's just dope.
Nice,
so that one just hit it, and then we got another one coming up.
Oh wow.
We're filming the video on the 23rd.
Cool.
We got another a prominent reggaeton artist as a feature. I won't give that up yet.
Please, Apple, don't get us in trouble.
But it's one of the pioneers,
Ooh.
the architect of reggaeton.
Oh my God!
So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Dude, that smells like.
Yeah, holy shit, dude! Oh my God!
You're talking big names there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fergie, so you seem to be enjoying a lot the sort of reggaeton and the reggaeton scene lately, then.
Yeah, man. It's to us it's like discovering dance music.
Okay, yeah.
Because it got that upbeat. It's upbeat. It makes you want to dance, and it's endless. It's endless possibility. You could put any music genre.
On
you
top.
could
fusion it into whatever you want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and wild. Look at ritmo is reggaeton, but not. You know what I mean? It's
reggaeton, but not.
It's the best way to describe it.
So we love it, man. It's just like house music, just endless possibility.
That's right.
It's really festive, and
it just puts you in a good
mood.
It's
It's really danceable and sexy. You could. It
gets you
groove,
going.
It's got that groove. Yeah.
You've been to, I mean, I'm sure you guys have toured in South America, but is there any country you visited from Latin America that you like? Like they kind of like the
Oh
because in
man,
South America, each country has like a tiny bit of difference, but they're very similar. But that it's in the details, the magic in it.
you know what? That's why it was natural for us to make translations
Yeah,
because of the love that we've received in Latin America throughout our career. You know, like we weren't, you know, where's the love? It's not in Spanish, but
Yeah.
that
Everybody
song
sang
is
it.
like, it's like, you know, we were well received and like and the support and like, you know, on our next tour, that's the first
Opening,
place that we want to hit.
Nice.
It's Latin America. Yeah.
Any specific dishes that you like from Latin America?
Dishes like
Like
food.
food.
Oh man. Like there's this I think arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo. Nice.
Yes.
It's like lemony with rice.
Yeah.
That's
damn. Argentina?
With plátanos.
Plátanos.
Oh,
Good man. Good man.
They win.
With plátanos, yeah. Like, oh man.
Arroz con pollo y plátanos.
You ever tried
Oh, now I'm hungry, bro. It's like 3:00 in the morning.
You ever tried empanadas?
Oh yeah, empanadas.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Empanadas. Yeah, we have empanadas in Philippines too.
Yeah. They're just as freaking good.
And I think actually they're very, very similar tasting actually.
Yeah. I mean, you know the history of Philippines.
Yeah.
But you know, like
Well, actually,
my last name is Pineda.
Yeah, Pineda. Yeah.
Like so
it's very Hispanic influenced. Yeah. It's so cool though. It's so cool. Like the similarities are actually randomly scary. Like how similar in cultures and
the Philippines and like South
America are. It always freaks me out. Like, wow, how come from like completely different continents we got so many similarities? Even in Tagalog and Spanish, it's so close.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, through history, colonized by Spain. You know, the Spaniards, and they went all the way to Philippines.
Yeah.
You know, like we count in Spanish.
Yeah.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro to our month.
Yeah.
Our month.
Enero, febrero, marzo.
Camisetas, lápiz, chinelas. You know, like.
¿Cómo está? Is kind of like ¿cómo estás? You know.
Yeah. ¿Cómo está? Es ¿cómo estás? You know.
That's
same
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you have like a lot of like Spanish like sounding words like película and
problema.
Like, and problema.
Película, problema.
Mundo.
Sinvergüenza.
Sinvergüenza. And they mean the same thing. That's the cool thing, you know.
Yeah.
But my favorite one that's nowhere near similar. It's mahal kita. That's word sounds beautiful in Tagalog, dude.
That's Tagalog right there, right?
Yeah,
mahal kita, yeah.
You know,
mi amor.
Mi amor. We love that. You know, what was the your thought process and releasing a first Tagalog song in like a Black Eyed Peas album? Did you have any like doubts or like weird feelings about writing the whole thing in Tagalog?
Yeah, you know, because I haven't really written in Tagalog. Like, since I started writing, I wrote in English.
Right.
So it was so to write in Tagalog, and actually that wasn't even my dialect. Like I have a different dialect in Philippines,
right,
other than Tagalog. I learned Tagalog in school, so I was kind of nervous writing it if I was like using the right grammar.
Of course.
If I was saying the right things.
Yeah.
And so at first I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, what are my
Filipino
what are
fans.
other Filipinos
Filipinos
think about this and me? Like what the fuck are you talking about? But when that shit came out and like it just blew up, and I was like, "Woo! Thank God!" I was saying that thing, but I was very nervous. I was like, "Ooh, like," because I kind of felt like taboo. Like when he speaks Spanish, he gets a little nervous because like I don't know what they're gonna think about me. Like they're very particular in in speaking.
Yeah. Especially Mexico,
Yeah, especially in Mexico, you gotta know your shit,
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. And then they start calling you like pocho or like other.
Yes, sir.
Coño gringo,
Yeah, gringo. And that's how I felt like. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna fucking get a lot of fucking
hate with this.
With this one, but thank God,
What's the dialect?
I can't.
What's your dialect?
What's your dialect?
It's called Kapampangan.
Kapampangan.
Yeah, Kapampangan.
Because we've been learning that we know, like for example, a few very popular singers that we like as well. They're Visayan. So they like KZ Tandingan.
Yeah, KZ. Oh, you know KZ.
Oh, we freaking love her, bro. He's just amazing.
Actually, right now,
dope.
you know McCoy Portado, KZ's one of KZ's guitarists.
Yeah.
We're working with him right now, making a cover, which we're fucking excited to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yo, she's dope. She's dope. Yeah. So, yes, that's a different dialect. So there's Pampanga, Tagalog, Visaya, Ilocano.
Chavacano.
We have like
Chavacano.
Chavacano is like
Spanish.
Full Spanish, and there'll be like one Tagalog word in there.
It still sounds. It's very close, but it's not identical, but it's oddly close.
Yeah. Like even if you didn't know Chavacano and you spoke Spanish, you would understand what they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I could survive. Like if I'm in like in South America, Spain,
you'll be fine.
I know a little bit. Like I know that word. The whole sentence, I'll know like one thing.
Yeah. Whatever they said, I know one word. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, also you're famous, so if you go anywhere in the world, I'd imagine you do all right.
Oh man,
it's
fun to learn other languages, though.
Yeah, I totally agree.
The one that I want to learn at the moment, but it's so bloody hard. It's a Korean.
Oh yeah,
because it's so percussive. The way like it's so syllabic, and the way they especially rap. Korean rap sounds fucking clean. But it's so hard. It's impossible.
I know. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. That's all I know. And then obviously,
that's all I know.
And then Ephraimita, which I think means I am Ephraim.
Yeah,
right? That's my name.
That's it. Listen, it's a vibe. Go on.
Oh, I forgot. No, I was about to say something Korean, but I think it's Japanese. I don't want to. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah,
it's really cool though. I talking about the whole fame thing, and how do you keep yourself grounded? Not in like in a personal way, because given the huge success and all the things that you guys have managed to achieve in your lifetime, how do you keep yourself grounded? Like understand that everything that's happening is because of hard work. I don't know how to approach it.
Just really like remembering where you came from. It's like that's like family. Family keeps you grounded, and like like I know a lot of artists, they have problems of like taking photos, and I don't see, to me, that I'm like, I love taking photos. You know what I mean? Because it's like I feel like it's part of what I do.
Part of the gig.
Part of what I do.
Yeah,
and then without their support, they wouldn't be me. So that's how I get out of that like celebrity mentality. Like we're just the same. I just happen to make music.
Yeah.
And like, I don't never get tired of taking photos unless I'm like in mid bite or using the rest, or I'm peeing in the restroom. They're like, what's up? And like, yo, did you wash your hands?
What's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to you?
Like a fan encounter.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you're in the urinal,
oh fuck,
people get excited, like, yo, they start touching your shoulder, trying to give you a pound. I'm like, yo,
how about no?
I'm trying to take a leak, dog.
Like wash your hands before, wash your hands before you say hi. Like,
oh my god, that's wild.
That's the most craziest. The eating part, that's normal. That's like,
of course,
like, we like, not just being in a band, we're brothers, and
that's
we
right.
we check each other if we're like going out of, overboard, or,
of course.
So we really like watch out for each other, and I think that's how we keep each other grounded.
I think it also probably comes from the. Sorry to interrupt, Apl, but it probably comes from the fact that because you started with Will garnering fans like 1-to-1, you literally saw every face that also saw you, and the funny thing of writing out down their address, you really had to work hard to get 10 people or 20 or 50. Now it's obviously millions and hundreds of thousands, but it seems that you haven't lost touch because you keep reminding yourself of how hard it was at the start to get one person to listen to music.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, that's why, the support is really important for us, like our fans, our supporter. We like, we call them, we have like Peabodys, we call them Peabodys. And then whatever city, we take the time to like have dinner if we have time with, like, the hardcore fans, and just really keeping in touch, through social medias, replying, answering questions, and like
maintaining
that,
that link really open with your fans, so there's no barrier between one and another. That's incredible, though. I think that takes a lot of thought process, that human approach of things, because you can easily be detached from how people perceive you once you become famous. It's like you kind of become like dehumanized, to a certain extent. You become this thing, not a human anymore. So it's that step of breaching that wall, that fourth wall.
It's peculiar, isn't it? That whole fame thing.
Oh yeah, like we will like like when we go in the city, we go to the mall.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, what are you guys doing here? What are you doing in the mall? I'm like, I don't know. We like going to the mall,
like you like going to the mall.
just like you go, So we don't like try to deprive ourselves from doing normal things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like
unveil
I still do
the
my laundry.
spectacle.
I still do my own laundry, like, I cook my food, like, I think coming from like a humble beginning, and like that's what keeps us grounded. You know what I mean? Like, and we don't take anything for granted, like the success, you know what I mean? Like, I could be buying like expensive cars, like, but me, I'd rather buy land and like rice fields, you know what I mean? Like, cause I come from, I was poor once. So I'm like, yo, I think a rice field would last longer than a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're also smart.
Absolutely.
In the end. And those just little things like that,
I think it's also, it sounds funny, but I think that's sometimes essential. I feel, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's many people on earth that have experienced the amount of success that you and and Will and Taboo and Fergie have achieved. But I would imagine that the way to try and maintain yourself with the feet on the ground and not lose that relatability that you had when you were struggling, that most people right now are having a hard time, and they don't know what it's like to I don't know, have a luxury car, or they don't know the experience of what it's like to fly first class, or most people are just normal, and I guess it's essential.
Oh yeah, because we gone through all of that, you know
Exactly.
what I mean? Like we used to, like, it took a while before we could get like business and first class tickets,
Of course, yeah.
like, is that all that time paying dues, you're like, that's what makes you, like, appreciate these things, I guess,
Like, you understand that they don't come easy because you've had
exactly.
to work. You've worked your whole life towards it, so it's a reward rather than an expensive luxury thing. It's a reward,
Yeah, you got it. You break it down.
Well, that's there's one last thing I was meaning to ask you. Actually, just before that, you got any hobbies? Like, what do you do to relax? Just make music, or you got anything else to?
Well, I like bowling.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I like bowling. I like boxing. I like, as a workout. I love working out. Oh, hiking.
You like hiking, yeah?
You like hiking?
Yeah, I love hiking because it's cool. like you get to, like, meditate almost, kind of, while you're walking and seeing nature.
Yeah.
You kind of clear your mind, and, like, sometimes ideas comes from that, lyrics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love hiking. Cooking.
Nice.
I love
look
cooking.
at that. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I cook Filipino food. So
that's all I know.
I like chicken adobo, bistec. But the recent one that I learned through pandemic is how to cook paella.
Paella. Good,
like
man.
Spanish.
Yeah. I know how to cook paella.
But like,
do you make it with seafood, or do you make it with chicken?
I got that shit down. With that burnt rice at the bottom.
The crispy rice at the bottom. Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta be careful, because I might ask you for a piece. So chill out, dog. Do you make it with seafood, or do you like to make it straight with chicken?
Seafood.
Yeah. Good man. Proper.
Yeah. I could also make it at vegan, because Will, my best friend's vegan, so I have to, make vegan stuff for him.
Yeah. Also, you're proper into cooking then.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah. I'm the cook. I'm the cook on the road. Whenever we lived in London one summer.
Yeah.
When we were recording The End. And we lived in Chiswick area.
Chiswick, not bad, nice.
And then we were in a house, so I became like the designated cook.
Well,
yeah,
nice, man.
Do you enjoy your time in London, like living here? Because it's one of my favorite cities in the world. But
I love it. I love London, man. I love the nightlife there.
Vibe. Such a vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, we go out. We go hard in London.
Well, there's everywhere. Yeah. Like, there's of any type of thing that you're into, there is a display. There's a spot in London. Whatever you were crossing your mind, there's definitely a place about it.
Oh yeah, we love London. London inspired us so much. Like, from fashion to music, and like we did a whole album there, so it's like very special to us. Yeah,
it's really weird, because like if you want to like a weird night out, or not weird but like different, you can go like Camden. But if you want like a high-end night out, you can go like Kensington, Chelsea, it's such a small city as well, full of people. I mean, millions of people, but you can get such a different
taste
atmosphere
of everything. Yeah.
and fashion changes radically too.
And if you know who runs the things, then you're like have the underground rave lifestyle.
Underground clubs are real fun.
Yeah, the underground. Yeah, and then there's theater, and then if you're like into spoken poetry, then there's places for that only, and everything's wild here. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
You ever heard London grime, like London rap?
Yeah. But like old stuff though.
Old stuff.
Like the streets.
Oh wow.
Remember that guy in the streets?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
What else? What's his name? Dude with the dreads. I forget his name.
I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell.
All I can think of is like J Hus.
Skepta. Well, at the moment, that's different era.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing something different in the rap industry here.
It's going global, which is really good to hear UK grime and UK sort of rap.
It's really cool because they've really integrated a lot of like Afro style beats into their
I love that stuff.
Yeah, so they're doing something different here, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I love that they're incorporating
Afro beats.
Afro beats. Yeah. I love that stuff. It's been on my it's on my Spotify, but I haven't really checked the name.
Yeah.
But during my hike, I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like rapping on, yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Well, let's finish on that note, Apl. What's on your playlist at the moment? Maybe any music you'd like to share that is like on your playlist that you're listening to, any artists?
Oh man, I'm listening to like Essence.
Oh, cool. Damn.
I like Essence right now. I like The Weeknd.
Nice. He's doing really
well. I
like
The Weeknd. I like Tyler.
Yes, Tyler the Creator.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Of course, I like everything, man. I like Drake. I like Kanye.
Nice.
I like Little Baby. I like The Baby.
Nice.
I like all the babies.
All the babies.
I like the babies.
Dua Lipa. Nice. I like Dua Lipa right now. She's got some hot stuff.
She does.
Doja Cat.
Rosalia. That's my thing.
Doja Cat.
Rosalia.
Doja Cat. Karol G.
Yay.
I like Karol G.
Peta.
Yeah. Who else? Like, yeah, and of course, from J Balvin to
Ozuna,
no, like who sang Peppa? Anuel
AA.
Oh
my God, yes. He is such a mood. He is such a mood. Yeah. He is funny, man.
Dude, when he first came out, he broke the scene, like in Latin America.
He took it by a storm, bro.
So it broke the internet.
Oh yeah. Jay Cortez, I like Jay Cortez.
Nice.
Mana. I listen to Mana. Sorry, Mana.
That's right.
That's our mother's favorite. One of my mother's favorite bands.
Yeah.
Mana.
Yeah. So we go back.
Mariposa traicionera. Oh my God, what a freaking vibe.
Who else? Yeah. Yeah.
A good mix. A good mix.
It's a freaking mix. I told you that.
Yeah. Yeah. I go all over the place.
Brother,
thank you so much for having the time to talk to us for a little bit. It's been an absolute honor and a blast. I had a blast. I'm pretty happy to have had the opportunity to have spoken to you.
Thank you, brother, for making the time. I really mean it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys.
I'm glad to hear
history.
Anything you'd like to share with our viewers that maybe is coming up, or any songs that you think we should drop the links in the description or anything like that you'd like us to showcase?
Well, you know what? Check out Translation if you haven't heard that. But another album that's that kind of been slept on. It's called Masters of the Sun. It's a hip hop album that we did in 2019.
That's my favorite album of you guys.
And I was just on a hike listening to that album. I'm like, yo, There's some gems in here.
We'll link that below. Absolutely, we'll link it below.
Check that out. Check out J Ray Soul's new single.
Nice.
So she's starting to release some solo music of her own. So check J Ray.
She's been looking hot lately.
check out. I have some NFTs on my Instagram. You could check that out.
Nice.
There's a website in there, and the proceeds goes back to like helping out artists in Philippines, digital artists.
Brilliant.
Cool.
It helped them like to upload their digital art. So
that's close.
Yeah, and then then a new single coming up by the Black.i.am piece. Check that out.
Let's go. Can I just say though, I disagree with you that I think Masters of the Sun was slept on as an album, because that's actually one of my favorite songs. Like, I think Back to Hip Hop with Nas is one of the best songs that dropped in 2018 to 2019. So I disagree with that. It's been slept on.
Efra played that song so many times.
I like to play it on the kit a lot because I love vibing to hip hop on the kit.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. Like, yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, people always expect the party vibes from us. Yes. You know, and
it's
that
back
one
to
is
the
like
origins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like our third album when you speak in hip hop.
Yes.
From Behind the Front, Bridging the Gap, and then Masters of the Sun.
Masters of the Sun.
Dude,
in that genre.
It's certainly, as an opening track, it set the tone so well for the rest of the album that you were here for pure rap and lyricism.
Yeah, you're back to purist. Yeah.
As a rap fan, it was very refreshing.
Thank you.
Well, brother, on that note, thank you so much. And everybody.
All right, guys.
Apl.deAp.
Woo woo.
Yeah.